Here is a 32-year-old logistics savant who built a $31 million e-commerce empire from scratch. Yet right now, she is standing perfectly still at a formal dining table while an older man is screaming at her, calling her a failure. That man is her father. It's his 60th birthday dinner. The young woman, Emily, has just handed him a fully funded retirement account, a cash gift meant to permanently secure his future. Instead of thanking her, he calls her uneducated trash and orders her out of his house. To understand how a massive financial gift triggers an eviction, we have to look at this closed psychological system. Let's call it the Mercer Family Economy. In this household, the only accepted currencies are degrees and corporate titles. Anything else, hustle or internet businesses, bounces off the defensive shield. Because Emily dropped out to build her company, a heavy red stamp slams down, categorizing her as a liability. But closed systems create severe blind spots. The institution becomes so obsessed with enforcing its own rules that it completely fails to realize the supposed liability is actually its primary financier. For years, Emily operated as the family's secret angel investor. When her mother's medical bills stalled, Emily paid them. When her brother came up short on a house, anonymous funds appeared. She even quietly rescued her sister's collapsing wedding budget. She subsidized these crises, hoping to buy acceptance. She thought if she solved their problems quietly, she could balance out the perceived shame of leaving college to sell handmade goods online. That brings us back to the birthday dinner. By presenting a structured retirement package, she wanted to make her value mathematically undeniable. She thought they would finally see her as a peer instead of a cautionary tale. The capital triggered a violent reaction. Her brother left it off as a fake internet scam. Her father stared at the documents as if they were a personal insult. They didn't see the money as a lifeline. They saw it as an attack on their established hierarchy. He stood up, pointed at the door, and told her that money made by a dropout would never impress him. He banished her, insisting that her uncredentialed wealth could never make her equal to people who had actually done life the right way. In that moment, the math became clear. Her silent financial support had bought exactly zero respect. She had only been subsidizing her own mistreatment. Emily looked at her father, calmly said, "Okay, fine," and walked out. By dawn, she was packing her car, decisively pulling her time, capital, and emotional labor away from the people inside that house. She drove to Charleston, South Carolina. She didn't treat this move as running away. She treated it as a total asset liquidation of her past life, discarding the inherited guilt and physical artifacts that tied her to their expectations. In Charleston, Emily scaled a logistics platform that integrated hundreds of independent makers into a direct-to-consumer network. She also launched a workshop community designed specifically for entrepreneurs whose paths didn't involve a university. 3 weeks later, her brother Ryan showed up at her front door. A real estate deal had soured, and he needed a quick bridge loan. He immediately deployed the usual family tactics, leveraging loyalty, blood, and history to extract cash. Before she could answer, her CFO called. Emily put it on speaker, openly confirming terms on a 7-figure licensing agreement right in front of Ryan. When she hung up, she delivered a flat no to his loan request, shattering any leverage he thought he had. Once an individual discovers their true market value, they can no longer be coerced by a local monopoly trying to buy their talent at a discount. Emily knew what her time and money were worth, and Ryan's manipulative currency was no longer accepted. The catalyst for the family's public crash was a feature in a major regional business journal. It detailed Emily's $31 million success and specifically analyzed how she succeeded because she bypassed traditional gatekeepers. This triggered an immediate correction back in Indianapolis. Colleagues, distant cousins, and old classmates read the piece. The curated story her parents had maintained, that Emily was a struggling dropout, collapsed the moment the objective facts hit the public domain. Ryan faced immediate and severe professional fallout. He had been hinting at his bank that he had special access to his sister's lucrative company to win favor with supervisors. When the estrangement became public knowledge, internal compliance officers stepped in. He lost a major promotion and was written up for misrepresentation. At the engineering firm, Emily's father was increasingly cornered by the truth. Coworkers began praising his daughter's innovation in meetings, asking him for advice on non-traditional hiring. The constant, polite reminders of the daughter he had dismissed became unbearable. He eventually lost his temper with a manager, leading the firm to offer him an early retirement package to protect their reputation. When a system built on a false narrative is exposed to public reality, the facade eventually reaches a breaking point. The family's internal authority simply couldn't survive the external evidence. Weeks later, Emily received an invitation from the industrial firm where her father had worked for 35 years. They wanted her to deliver the keynote address at their summit on manufacturing innovation. She accepted the invitation, but not to earn her family's validation. She walked up to that podium, commanding the room, ready to deliver a public audit of the values that had once judged her. Her father, mother, and siblings sat in the front rows. They were forced to watch as the executives of the corporate world, the very people her father had spent a lifetime trying to impress, gave a standing ovation to the daughter he had called a lowlife. During her speech, she stated that a person's actual value is revealed by how you treat them long before their resume impresses you. It was a direct indictment of her father's character, delivered in the one room where his opinion used to matter most. Power shifts when the institutions your critics admire end up validating you instead of them. After the keynote, her father's pride finally broke. In a quiet hallway, he delivered a private apology, admitting he had felt unnecessary in the face of her success. The family began a desperate attempt to reset the relationship. Emily established rigid boundaries. Look at this as her new contract: 0 business access, no emotional rewriting of the past, and no more capital. The connection would now operate entirely on her terms, built on distance and objective reality. She flew back to Charleston completely at peace. She had fully detached from their judgment, and she no longer needed their metrics to confirm her own worth. The most effective response to doubt isn't a better argument. It's building a life so self-sufficient that you no longer need the validation of the people who are willing to let you fail.